Hey everybody, this is episode number 12 of our show No Bullshit, Only Entrepreneurship with Colonel Sanjay Pande
Hi.
and Shubhankar, that's me. So, over the last few episodes, we've been talking a lot about thinking, and this will actually be our last episode. So, thinking being one of the most important things for an entrepreneur, we've devoted, I think this is our 12th episode, so we've devoted a majority of the 12 episodes to telling you about four or five different but very crucial frameworks to thinking. That's thinking macro to micro, thinking sequential, thinking simultaneously, plotting all of these on a timeline, thinking out of the box. I know that's not something that you like to hear. But all of these combined have culminated in this episode. This will be our last episode in the Think series, and we'll be taking you through specifically on examples or anecdotes of how we use sequential and simultaneous thinking and put it all on a timeline. I'm going to start off with a very the first thing I could think of when it comes to telling you guys about how to think sequential, how to think simultaneous is our meeting, sir, on 1st April this year. So at the start of every year, we simply have a meeting where we discuss everything that happened in the year prior and we discuss what are our goals, what do we want to do in the coming year. So on 1st April this year, we had that meeting. We laid out all of the goals for this year. Sir laid out all of the goals for this year. And that was it. The meeting was done. So I was expecting it to be a much, much longer meeting like how we've had it for the last two times that I've attended. But this time around, Sir just simply came in, discussed with me for maybe half an hour what the goals are for this year, and then he left the meeting, leaving all of us utterly confused. He simply said, now over to you, you decide what to do, how to execute. So from there, I took over. I took about maybe 15-20 minutes, and then I took over in terms of how to execute each and everything, how each thing affected every department, each goal affected every department, how every department must function throughout the year, what should be our 90-day goals, what should be our 6 month goals, what should be our month, the next goals for the next month. So basically, I was then left with the job of a CEO, if I were to say, where the board has simply decided that these are the things that you need to do over the next year. And the CEO's job is to convert everything into actionable steps for the company, for the head of each department, set goals on a timeline, and then simply let the heads of departments work it out amongst themselves as to how everything works.
It took some time for Shubhankar to realize that macro to micro, there is nothing called macro and there is nothing called micro. My micro is someone else's macro.
Yeah.
This is what actually one has to understand. Now, when my micro becomes someone else's macro, so his micro becomes someone else's macro again. So, unless you have this understanding that this entire thinking process, anyone and everyone who is in this chain is actually performing a macro task,
Yeah.
and he is further splitting his macro into number of micros, which again is going and entering some mind.
Yeah. So for just to give a small example, one of the things that we decided this year was that we will be diversifying our product line. So very, very clearly, what how that got converted from macro to micro, we decided that we wanted to launch 10 new products this year. So my job was to identify the broad categories in which these products should lie. The next task was for the R&D guys, which incidentally is me because we're a small company. That we after deciding the product categories, what would be the products that we would have to make. After that, it comes over to the design guys who are designing the marketing materials, which incidentally is also me, as to what would be the marketing materials, what would be the marketing talk, how would we pitch it to clients, and then the next thing that the next order in that sequence would be over to the sales guys, as to how do you convert these into sales, what clients do you reach out to, at what points in the year are you going to reach out to them, how are you going to pitch it to them, how are you going to conduct the demonstrations, preparing the demonstration scripts, preparing the letters that they are supposed to send out, everything from that till the last point where you actually make a sale. From there, the manufacturing takes over, because then you have to
And
think
before
about.
that, there is something I always would catch him.
Yeah,
So he comes out with products and his entire detailed plan, like what he has explained. So he would do all the roles, and each role I would question separately.
yeah,
Each role. So he had no choice but to actually, as a CEO, split it into micro, convert each micro into a macro, and then further do it. And after he had explained to me everything, and when he was expecting a very, very good pat from me, I asked him, but have you checked if the client wants this? Does he want to buy it? What is the client's requirement? And that actually brought him back to the design board, because now he also knows how the budgeting is done. He also knows the heads under which budgeting is done. So rather than putting something today which is going to be selling next year, why not do something which is already budgeted for, under what categories, and now to see whether 10 products that you are making, whether they fit under those categories in the government budgeting.
yeah,
And then he found out that there are certain things which don't, certain yes. So this means not only is it from one side, it is from another side also. So your mind actually, when you think about client, make him macro and bring down to your products as micro. When you are designing your products, you become macro, and then thereafter bring it down to micro within your company.
yeah,
So this is that oscillation I always talk of, macro to micro, sequential to simultaneity. If you cannot have this sort of a mind functioning 24/7, so you take it from me, the things will not happen.
yeah. And that's very nicely put, because these, if you think about it, these are the four axes on which you are supposed to think all the
Exactly.
time.
Comfort level is something that I have always told you, and particularly Shubhankar, in the first year when he was here. Shubhankar was a typical uh, human being, I'll say.
You can say it, sir. He's called me brain dead a lot of times. I'm just putting it out on record.
Okay. He was the typical guy who would do the work exactly as a 99% of the workforce does in corporate. Whether that guy is a vice president, or whether that guy is a president, or whether that guy is an assistant manager, or he manager, you name a person, 99%. And what is that? Sequential work. There would be a pad, or there would be a list of to do items. Okay, this is the list, and I will first finish this, then come to next, then finish this, come to next, then finish this, come to next. And I would ask him, but you are ignoring, you're not giving me feedback on those 7, 8 other items.
Yeah,
No, but I was doing this, so I'll do that later. What I had to actually convince him and break that mindset of sequential working. The brain loves to be aligned one after other like a railway train.
yeah,
That is what the brain loves. Brain does not want 5 things to be thought together. So it says it's very comfortable with one thing at a time. And that is what you do. So on your pad, you have written down, or your mobile, or wherever you store your things, or if you have got a secretary who is going to tell you these are the things to be done, you are you are a very busy man. Why? Because you're doing so many things and you do one thing at a time. But what about those 40 other things that you are ignoring?
the first thing that you made me do, sir, when I joined the company, was he simply told me that, look, this is the product that we are going to be launching very soon. I want you to help me launch it. So, what are all of the things that you think need to be done to launch this product?
Exactly.
What heads will they fall under? Is it R&D head? Is it sourcing? Is it manufacturing? Whatever. So put everything under a head. Make a Excel sheet. Put all of these heads in different columns. Then start listing out what are the tasks to be done under each and every column. And now this becomes your work for the next year.
And while he's talking about that, and I would suddenly ask him, where is your application for what is it, GRE? Or what exams you have to give? GMAT.
Yeah. So that was much later. So that
So
was.
much later. So my point is
Yeah.
that while he is completely consumed with something else, I would simply ask him five other things which are going on,
Yeah.
and he would completely be confused. Though he has not done that, and then I would suddenly ask him something personal.
Yeah.
Okay, where exactly is when are you meeting your girlfriend? So and why? So the thing is that he was completely confused all the time that I'm working, I'm doing this, I'm working out goals, I'm doing the products, and where the hell do these things come from? And that is the place I told him that unless you have this capability, unless you learn how to think everything simultaneously. So simultaneously is not about one job. Simultaneously is thinking is about every aspect of your life that your brain is storing for that point in time, which has got some effect in the future.
Yeah.
So if you can't, so this is simultaneity.
Yeah.
So within simultaneity, when you talk about each work, so there is a sequential action within that, and there is a simultaneous action.
Yeah.
So you can't say that this is my work, these are simultaneous, these are sequential. No.
No.
Every work within itself is inbuilt, has got inbuilt simultaneity and inbuilt sequential.
Absolutely.
And remember one thing always, the mind always bends towards sequential.
That's how we trained. That's how we trained in school. That you have a math problem, you solve it step by step. You read a English chapter, you read all the questions, and then you give the answers. So at no point are we taught to think simultaneously. Like a project. There are 20 different things that you need to do to become a project manager. So if you treat everything as a project, treat any problem in your life as that, you'll be able to come up with simultaneous ways of thinking, which is not natural at all. Let me tell you,
Yeah, it is not natural
it's
at all.
not natural at all. It's something that you need to train your mind for. So for the first few years, even now, I rely on that sheet that I made, the first thing that sir made me do. And I use that as a tool because I knew that my mind would force me to put everything in a sequential bracket. But putting all of my work across different columns in a Google Sheet helped me look at everything visually simultaneously. And then, and I do this till date. All of my work, even today, is lined up in different columns under different heads, different departments that I follow. Like that little joke I was making earlier about doing sales, doing marketing, manufacturing, looking after everything. But that's true. So all of my work is lined
The
up in all these.
difference being that earlier whatever you were doing in Excel sheet, now he doesn't do it. He does that in his.
So
So this is the ultimate aim of thinking.
and just to complete my point, you have everything in your mind that's laid out across the different domains or different heads that you're handling your work. You simply need to review everything, looking at all of the tasks that are laid out
All the
under
time.
under under each head, prioritize it. So say, okay, fine, for the next week, across all of these heads, these are the 5 things that I'm going to prioritize. This is how I will do it. And then plan your day, plan your week, plan your month, plan your year. That's just how it goes after that.
I come back from cycling and there is a drill I have in mind. So you will laugh at it. It's such a silly drill. Why should you have it? But then I respect my time. If I have to do certain things in a sequential manner which have to be done, I have to open the door, I have to pick up the two milk packets, I have to pick up my newspapers, I have to take my cycle inside, I have to clean it, I have to remove my sweaty clothes, I have to put the things on charge, the lights which I put on the cycle, I have to put every stuff at every correct place. I must remove my clothes and put them in a particular place, maybe take bath, rest, not to spoil anything. And these are absolutely mandatory tasks to be done every day. Now, the usual is okay, fine, I have finished cycling, I'm tired, I'm dead tired, so I go and I relax for some time, and then in a haphazard manner, I do it, whatever I want. I always tell Shubhankar, no, that is not how I do it. When I'm in the last kilometer, I go through each and every action that I will do soon as I disembark from my cycle, right till that time when everything is back in its place, and I have whether my cup of tea or a glass of juice or a energizer, whatever I want to have, fresh, and I'm sitting at a place, I simply continue my life from where I cut it in the morning. I don't have to drag this for such a long time. So doing it every day for every work, so that continuously taxes your brain, and some slowly from your Excel sheets or from your books, your mind starts recording everything. It is trained. This is what the activity, and it simply remembers this is the activity I have to do. And like I told you that I mastered this art not after retiring. I mastered this art when I was in army. When you are in exercise and you are handling 1,000 things
Yeah.
in the dead of night, controlling people, men, ammunition, operation, it is absolutely crazy.
I think one of the best examples of this that you've given is when you were commanding your unit in high altitude and your troops were laid out
On
across different posts.
53 different posts, and the extreme distance being about 150 kilometers. And two people here, three people there, 10 people there, 11 people there. The vehicles would be everywhere. The firing would be on there. There will be a party which is coming back from leave. There is another party which is going on leave. There are officers who are coming down from the OP. There are officers who are going back to the OP. And there are reports to be given. Then there is my own family to be looked after. There are maybe another 500 families to be looked after of the unit, which are in their respective villages. Because the men are here, they have to speak to their families so regularly. I have to keep a track as who is speaking, who is not speaking. It is mind boggling. So this is, and over a period of time in army, I had actually devised my own system of thinking and training my mind. And I was one of the most relaxed commanding officers that anyone had seen. And nothing ever went wrong, because whenever I was not doing anything, there was one thing I was always doing, that is thinking. What else? What all is likely to happen by evening? What is happening tomorrow? What is happening this week? And continuously doing that, what would happen is that every task would always be stored in my mind. It was always just recall, just refurbish the entire thing, just update everything and put it back in my mind again. And exactly the same thing, I put it in practice soon as I came out of army. And then I started putting that in business. Then I said, no, business is not a big deal at all. At the end of the day, everything is about thinking. And whether you use this thinking in your personal life or your military life or your entrepreneurship or your work, whether you are a vice president, whether you're a manager, at the end of the day, everything boils down to these four things: macro thinking, micro, sequential, simultaneity, and you're oscillating between these four 24/7.
And also you're not rigid in your thinking,
You're
because
not
that
rigid in your
because
thinking,
things
yes.
because things happen dynamically. So the entire point of you oscillating on these four axes is that if there's something that comes in that's not expected, you simply should be able to readjust your day, readjust your plans
And it never
in a
hurts you,
fraction.
it never upsets you.
Yes.
Because you're thinking so one situation changes, one doesn't get upset at all.
Yeah.
And getting upset is the most normal thing. When outside, when people say, oh shit, this has happened, so I can't do this today. No, why can't it? Everything can happen.
So it's actually 5 axes then, sir. Sounds quite complicated now.
If it was so easy, we wouldn't be making these videos.
No, but I still, I understand that, but I still feel that, it's very easy for us to talk about it because we've been doing it day in, day out. I mean, it's something that I personally think needs a lot of coaching.
Yes.
Yeah, unless you have a knack for it. In my case, I needed someone to talk to, like Colonel Pande, day in, day out, so that I could really get the hang of it. And I made tremendous number of mistakes. It's only through trial and error that I came across, I could really ingrain these things and start thinking on these 5 axes. And it's too embarrassing to say, but even as early as I would say 5 months ago or 3 months ago, I have been booted by Colonel Pandey for faltering on these things that we are talking to you about. So that the point is not that you become perfect in all of these things. The point of all these videos is that you start recognizing that these are things that people don't do, and that to some extent you start ingraining these in your personal life, in your professional life as well, on a day-to-day basis. I also think, sir, that at some point we should be launching some more comprehensive resource on the lines of how to think. It could be maybe a coaching service or maybe a course that we launch.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Because basically what I think would be a good idea was putting out that kind of personalized help that you provided me to everyone.
One of the best things that I hear from Shubhankar's friends, my son's friends, and anyone who knows him, for his age, the amount of change people have seen in Shubhankar is tremendous. There are times I also start wondering, and I tell him that probably today what you're thinking is at par with any senior vice president of any company, unless it is specific and technically required job where only a technical person can succeed. Otherwise, practically his thinking today is of the level of a vice president, senior vice president, and probably most of them he will simply beat over a period of time. And this beating is not negative in nature. It is by positive energy, by positive thinking, because the entire mindset has been changed. Events are same, sales are same, clients are same, everything is same. What has changed in Shubhankar is his thinking. He has actually traveled up a very rough road with me, which I also accept at times. I'm open about it. That yes, but then at the beginning when we started our association, I told him, I said, you have to give me 3 years, and if you can survive me 3 years, you can survive this world, and you have.
Thank you, sir. So actually, we just to wrap up everything, we have started off in the reverse order of the things that I have learned to become an entrepreneur. We started off with the most important thing, which is thinking. Where over the next couple of episodes, over the next many episodes that we do entrepreneurship, we are going to be talking about specific skill sets that an entrepreneur should develop to become successful. So whether that's learning how to conduct meetings, whether that's sales, marketing, business development, finance, HR, you talk about all of the departments. You talk about developing capabilities, culture in the company. All aspects that an entrepreneur must think of are things that we will cover across different arcs.
No, that's a brilliant idea.
In our videos.
Yeah, I think that's a brilliant idea. Yeah.
Yeah. So like we've just finished our arc on thinking, we'll be following up with you over a lot of more
And last suggestion from my side,
Yeah.
how will it be if I have an idea of saying, and I say, okay, I put some videos and I call them only leadership.
Yeah. I think that's our next couple of videos.
Yeah,
sorted out.
so that's a series that even I am thinking. That is only leadership, and that's my personal experience of leadership in the last 40 years and what exactly I have done. So there are two different series
Yeah.
we have already discussed in the last 2 minutes. So
Yeah.
we'll do that, right?
Yeah. Let us know how you have found this first arc. If you've noticed, we don't really want to ask you to like our videos or share
Oh
our
no,
videos
I'm not interested.
or subscribe our videos.
Don't like, don't subscribe. So far as you see them and you like them and you view them, we are quite okay with that.
Yeah, but we are new to this. We are doing this for the first time. So if you have anything that you want to say, do let us know in the comments.
None of our
maybe-
videos will have press this and there is that some icon going on. It will not happen in our videos.
It's mostly because we don't know how to do that.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being with us. And I think we have enjoyed this session, right?
Yeah, I had fun.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.